Why do we have to pretend like we don't know what can help? Because I know, and if you ask any immigrant who went through the whole, the way of immigrant, as I call it, in any country, I think, at least in the West, they will tell you what needs to be done and what we shouldn't be doing. We are now surrounded by fake compassion. Maybe even, I think that maybe there are actually people who really feel, compassion towards immigrants. But what they do not understand, and politicians, they do understand, that's why they use it as a fake compassion, is by giving a people in need, particularly immigrants, money, it's like giving them fish instead of fishing rod. Politicians, in my opinion, they do it for their own political gains. They know it divides us further. It's easier to rule if you divide the country, etc. But there are lots of people, natives, good people with good hearts, who think that by giving people money, you're sort of helping them. And I'm going to have to tell you, this is the exact opposite. I'll tell you why. If I was given money as an immigrant back when I came to England, I wouldn't be where I am. I would never learn the language. I would never learn English. I would never be ambitious. I would never try harder to improve my life and then have family and then work for their lives, make them better for my sons, for all, my friends, people around me, because I would probably get comfortable. So in the West, and this is kind of like common knowledge, but people don't want to talk about this, or maybe they really don't see it this way. So living in the West, it's very easy to just get by. Okay, it's hard in terms of like cost of living crisis. It's generally hard, right, to live, let's say, comfortably. But it's also very hard to be totally homeless, totally with no help, right? It's not that easy, in my opinion. And I was homeless for a short period of time back in the day. I would live in a squat. I would skip food from restaurants, after 6 o'clock. You would go to eat or pret a manger or something and just wait for them to leave that food outside in the bin bags. And I would just go there and just take that food, collect that food. And it was perfectly okay food, right? It was the same food people pay 1 hour earlier. It's just sandwich which is going to be wasted. I don't know what the policy is now, but that's what it used to be. But if I was there back then and I would be given just enough money to get to get by, right? So I don't have to skip for the food. I can buy some food, the cheapest food, and have some place to live. It would be probably end of me, because I would stay there stuck forever. And it's not because it's me particularly, but that's kind of our nature. If you bring people in, or if somebody comes in and you start giving things to people, particularly money, there's a risk of somebody's getting comfortable enough not to try get harder. And our compassion would say, oh, we should help them. That's what we should do. But the problem is we're hurting people like this because we're essentially removing the need for improving, okay? And look, we can pretend, but life is not easy. It never was, and it never will, right? I mean, we've had very easy period in our lives over the last century, not even whole century. But throughout the history, human life was hard. People had to work hard, had to save money or food, prepare for worse weather, all sort of conditions, conflicts, all of it. And now we think like, oh, if somebody's got less than us, then people immediately feel bad about this and they want to compensate. And again, this is coming from a good heart. They want good, but as a matter of fact, it's actually counterproductive. It's hurting person on the other end, because that person coming to as an immigrant to another country, like it or not, the truth is you're going to have to go through the life of immigrant, the journey, okay? And it's just the way it is. Doesn't matter what country it is. Of course, some countries has got better, some countries got easier journey, some probably harder. But you can't just expect to just show up in one country, whichever country that is, and just boom, have things, because it will eventually cripple you, okay? It's so crucial to understand, and especially for all the people with good hearts who really think this is how they can make a difference. Because trust me, the politicians, they know exactly what they're doing. They've got different reasons for it. That is my opinion, at least. But if you really want to help, if you really want to solve the problem, right? And immigration on its own is not going to be solved as, like, you can't not have immigrants coming to a country. I don't think so. It's we need immigrants in every country, just the way it is, the system. But there has to be, of course, this, the kind of like checks and system of how people can integrate and do their best and just try to thrive and give back to the economy, to the country, right? But if you start giving money to people, then I guarantee, that's what, well, I don't have to guarantee, you see where we are now. That's exactly what's happening. If you start giving people places to stay and little money just so they can survive, that's exactly what's happening. Because I can guarantee you, majority of these immigrants out there, they would just find a way, like legally find a way of how to do it. And they would just go, find the jobs nobody wants to do, because that's what we used to do as immigrants. You would just ask for that job. I told you in one of my previous videos, I would go to be a bicycle courier. I would have to offer myself 1 week for free to work for free, so I could get a chance to work, right? Bicycle courier, gig economy worker, okay? And it wasn't something I was like proud of myself, but it was just necessary. It's what allowed me to build my character. It's what's allowed to understand the hardship of being an immigrant, and how much I need to try and give more from myself in order to build my life and become something better, somewhat better, and have, better life. And if I wouldn't go through that journey, I would just be stuck in unhappy, very low bottom immigrant hole, okay? And then people would think this is amazing because they're gonna help me giving back little money, and I would feel absolutely unhappy deep in me, in my heart, because I would know that I could do more, but because of this fake compassion, I would be just too lazy probably to even try. Because why would you? Think about this, right? It's like you can see this in the nature, like the way the nature works. You're gonna trees, animals, plants, all of it. It's a constant fight over survival, and it doesn't mean like the plant is going to get cut down, the tree is going to get cut down and therefore it's going to do something. Like, no, but it's like it's growing higher so you can get high up to get the sun, as much sun as it can, so then it can grow bigger and get bigger leaves or something, right? The animals, they have to keep hunting or keep looking for food, getting better shelters and everything. It's just constant. Once they stop doing it, then they end up like in the zoo, right? It's just you go and see the animal in the zoo and they're just lazy, they just lost the spark, right? And this is what happens with people if we have not enough challenges and we are too comfortable but not enough engaged. Because come on, let's face it, nobody wants to be living on the minimum money given from the government, like 500 quid or something. Like, that's not exciting living, right? So that's exactly where people are losing that kind of spark. And trust me, immigrants, lots of immigrants, and again, I'm not always saying about everyone, I'm not saying every single person, but a lot of immigrants are really keen to work, to improve their lives. Like, this is what people are coming for, to make better money, more money, so they can have better house, bigger family. They bring families with them, and they want to, not all of them, but there's a lot of people like that. And these people, if you give them money and little place to stay, quite often it basically works against them. And then the people will realize that when it's too late. Maybe not too late, it's never too late, but it's definitely easier if you start from the beginning and you have your expectations where they should be, rather than you come here and it's like, okay, where's my money? Because like, I don't even know what the policy of government nowadays is. I read some articles here and there and they just absolutely, they're scary. I mean, it's just horrendous thing when I read, and I'm talking about from the immigrant point of view. But then we see how that it doesn't work, because we have society so divided. People are so angry on each other. Everyone is angry, so clearly things don't work. And I'm just telling you why, because we are giving things to people whether they should learn on how to make it. Okay, don't give people tools, give them chance, keep people safe, but don't give them money. Just give them places. Like, there's so much we could do with jobs, right? It's like, if you come in as an immigrant, you don't expect £20 an hour job, right? Give them the lowest paid job, but they let these people grow themselves. That's the biggest satisfaction in life when you can do it yourself, not by somebody doing it. You're holding your hand and just doing it for you. You, as a human being, you should be learning on how to grow and how to do things better, and then you get better job, more pay, better paid, and that gives you the ultimate satisfaction of living, of being alive. And then just that's how you learn to love the country, and then you integrate more. It can't be just made somebody. You can't just give the money, integrate, or otherwise, right? It's just never going to work. It never worked before. It didn't work my life, and I just know it's not going to work. So I think that moving forward, we'd have to accept that the fake compassion is hurt. It actually hurts. It's not what we think it is. I'm interested to see what you think about this. I'm getting lots of comments from you guys, and most of them are really interesting. Very few people are just coming out screaming some names, calling me names. Very few, but majority of you guys are very. You have thoughtful feedback, comments. So I'm interested to read them, and we're getting some conversation going on there. So I'm very positive about this. But that is it for today. If you like this video, please leave me a like. If you want to talk to me or you have something to share about this, please leave me a comment below, especially if you're an immigrant. If you share that point of view, leave me a comment, because then natives and others can see it. And who knows, maybe one day the channel is going to be big enough to actually make some impact. That's how all this starts, right? Every big journey starts with a small single step, and you can be part of it. So thanks again. If you are not subscribing yet, consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for your time, for your support. I'm wishing you a very good day, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.